Your Steve Jones Show podcast is loading now. The Steve Jones Show podcast is sponsored by Sunbury Motors, North 4th Street in Sunbury, and Sunbury Motors Kia, routes 11 and 15 in Hummel's Wharf. Sports talk where your voice counts. This is the Steve Jones Show on News Radio 1070 WKOK. Now from the Sunbury Motors studio, here's Steve Jones.
Sunbury Motors, 4th Street in Sunbury. Sunbury Motors Kia, routes 11 and 15 in Hummel's Wharf. Great to have you with us. We will not be on the show tomorrow because of the opener for the Phillies against the Atlanta Braves. We are your home for the Philadelphia Phillies. We are your home for the next 13 years for Bryce Harper. Seems like a long time, doesn't it? You'd be amazed how 13 years will fly by. Great to be with each and every one of you today. We'll have some fun on the show today, and then tomorrow off, and then Devin Still is going to join us on Friday. That should be a lot of fun talking to him about the book he wrote. Devin had a marvelous career here, and he sacrificed a lot for his family. And he'll tell you it was worth every second because Leah's been doing well. But Devin Still will join us on Friday. Sean, good afternoon to you.
Yes, sir. Now heading downhill to the weekend. Week's moving rather quickly. More hoops tomorrow night. But, yeah, we're excited for the Phillies. First pitch will be about this time 24 hours from now. And one of the guys that you'll hear on WKOK from the network, Kevin Franson, will join us later.
Looking forward to hearing from Kevin, get a feel from him as to how the Phillies are setting up. I ran into Joe Portelli today.
Joey P.
Engineer extraordinaire.
Yeah. You stopped by the studio there, or was he at PSU today? Or
I just ran into him at Dunkin' Donuts.
Wow.
Yeah. Judy's doing well. He's doing fine. And there was a certain individual whose name came up. Our little firefighter. It brought with it a roll of the eyes. I told him about the holiday present that you and I are going to get him.
Oh, yeah.
He loved it. I also made it plain to him in no uncertain terms how much we miss Harry.
And he didn't take it personal.
Well, no, because we know the person's been trying to fill in, and it just, it's overwhelming for him. It's too much. It's just too. Have you noticed it's too much for certain people? Have you noticed that?
Overwhelming?
Waking up is overwhelming for this guy. So I was speaking to the Tailback Club this morning, talking about waking up. I'll give you two of them. Two stories. One from last night. I had to speak to Ben Reichley and the LB Water people last night. Great people. Sean, the whole group, they're awesome.
No one left thirsty.
All right. It was great. Oh, that group, no. Or
actually, they probably left thirsty for even more Penn State knowledge because we can't get enough here.
So I'm up there and I'm answering questions about wrestling. I answer questions about hockey, about basketball, about football. So we're going from sport to sport here. And finally, this guy, and he was trying to be funny, which I totally appreciate. He says, I have a question. What about bass fishing? Okay, bass fishing. And I said, well, you know what? I said, 1976, Saturday Night Live, Dan Aykroyd, the Bass-O-Matic 76. So, of course, he's standing there, and he's got what is really, it's a blender, okay? He says, now you've got the Bass-O-Matic 76, and now you're holding out one incredible bass. And, of course, he takes the fish and he throws it in there. Now, I doubt that they took a fish and did this, okay? So, whatever, and then I'm sure they cut it, and boom, now it's, you can tell it's going around. And Lorraine Newman comes out and with a glass, and she drinks. And goes, "That's some bass." I said, "And you didn't think I could answer that question?" So then this morning, I'm speaking to the Tailback Club, and the awesome people, and you get some compliments and you thank them. And this guy says, "I just want to tell you that block kick, Grant Haley ran back for that call." And I said, "Yeah, I know. I wake up to it every day." Look, you got to make fun of it at some point. I can't take it seriously. It's not going to, let me tell you about that call. I wake up to it every day. Okay. Look, you got to have fun with these things. We try to have fun on the show. By the way, guess who is the big 6-0 today?
Oh, that's right. The most interesting man in New England, the one, the only, the Prince. The CEO of Jones Metal.
Yes.
South Windsor Pride and Joy, Kevin Jones.
Yes.
Mazel, mazel. Happy birthday.
Yes. I haven't even sent him a note yet. Didn't even send him a text yet. No.
Well, it's good news. You can text him now. You can. He finally has the he finally has the mobile phone situation squared away. I finally got a text from him. It was either Monday or yesterday.
Well, does he have a new number?
He does not have a new number. He has a new phone. I asked him if he upgraded, and he says, "No, I got another flip phone." And I'm thinking, that's got to be the last flip phone that was available for sale in the whole state of Connecticut.
Probably. Well, no, isn't there one now where the numbers are bigger on it? You see the TV commercials for it. Gray Call or something like that?
Yeah.
That's a flip phone.
Yeah, I've seen. I can't think of the brand right off the top of my head. Maybe.
Matt Millen. Matt Millen has a flip phone. I mean, Matt Millen has a flip phone.
By the way, it was great to see him in Pittsburgh last week at Nationals. Yeah. Got the green light from the doctor a couple days before, and
that's great.
That was very, very cool.
Yeah.
Wonder if Peyton Manning still has his flip phone.
That's a good question because they were doing the was it the Burt Bell dinner down in Philly? It may have been like 2013, something like that. And somebody was kidding Millen about his flip phone, and Peyton Manning walked by and said, "I have one too," and showed it. He actually did. All right. Yeah, flip phones. Nah, he looked good. I give Matty a lot of credit. I mean, the doctors did a great job. He's obviously bounced back. And get him back on the air as quickly as possible, because I think that'll be an important part of his recovery, too. To get him feeling much, much better. The ability to do stuff is really sparks somebody. Dick in Milton. Dick, do you still have a flip phone?
Let me just tell you my flip phone story. I used to love flip phones because I without a flip phone, I would pocket dial people all the time.
Oh, you know what? That happens all the time.
I always kept my phone in my pocket, and I would pocket dial people, and then they'd call me back. Did you want something or blah blah blah? I get that all the time, so I bought a flip phone, and I was pretty good for a while. But then all of a sudden, I started pocket dial people with a flip phone. So I thought, this is stupid. So I don't have one anymore. No, I thought they were great.
Yeah, well, I had a flip phone for a long time. Obviously, you know me, it takes me forever to get rid of stuff. And I finally bought an iPhone, and I thought people were going to fall down that I bought an iPhone. Of all people, Steve Jones bought an iPhone. Like, hey, that's just me going with the flow of life.
Well, you have to have a smartphone now to even almost survive in this world, which I think is kind of stupid, but that's just me,
Well, some people think they need Twitters to survive, and I know I don't. You don't.
I don't Twitter. In fact, I actually have surprised people when I started to text because they wouldn't respond to a call.
Right.
Why don't you just text me?
These kids. I was at the Tailback Club today, and that was brought up about the players tweeting all the time. Okay.
I have a question for you.
And I'm wondering if you and I, Dick, if we grew up in this era now, I wonder if we would be doing it too. I mean, just to be fair. But go ahead.
You're not very old yet, but I grew up when you had to call an operator.
Oh,
if you had a phone.
Okay.
If you even had a phone, you called an operator.
Okay.
People today wouldn't even know what you're talking about.
Right.
Well, I don't think they would anyhow.
What's your question or comment there?
Well, my question was, obviously I went to wrestling, and it was really good. It was great, and it was excellent. Sometimes I'll have to tell you some of my wrestling stories because we stayed at the Marriott, which was right next to the arena, and everybody that was pretty much anybody was there. And I got to talk to John Smith. I had a John Smith story I've been holding for 20 years, and I actually got to tell him about it.
Oh, good.
You know who I mean, John Smith?
Yes, of Oklahoma State, yep.
One of the great wrestlers of all time.
Yep.
And my brother and I went to watch their team trials when it was in Pittsburgh at Duquesne at the Palumbo Center, and he lost. And then he actually came back and won 2 times, and I had to tell him that. I said, what's the odds that you go to watch John Smith wrestle, among others, and you lost? And he remembered it, believe me, because he didn't lose very many.
Oh, well, exactly. That's one thing you'll find out about most coaches or athletes. They remember the losses more than the wins. Well, he remembered
that one because he said I went out and ran around Pittsburgh for a while just to get my head cleared, and then basically came back and won 2 times and made that team. But my question was about basketball. When do you think men's basketball, college basketball, will ever go to play quarters instead of halves?
It's a really good question, Dick, because this is the rules year. So this is the year that they will adopt new rules. My guess is going to be that they will probably adopt extending the 3-point line to the international line, but I think they'll stop. But I think they'll stop short of 4 quarters, and here's the reason why: the TV timeouts are 16, 12, 8, and 4, and I think there's so much TV now of college basketball. I don't know if they want to upset that apple cart, so I think that might stand in the way of college basketball, men's basketball, going 4 quarters.
Well, it's the last vestige of a quarter basketball or of a half basketball.
I know. It's the only holdout. I know that. Yep.
And are they doing something in the NIT where they're with the fouls this year?
Yeah, they played quarters last year, but they're not playing quarters this year. So to me, that's the tip off. They're not going to go to quarters. See?
But aren't they doing something where if you get 5 fouls and then they're reverting back to the way they're shooting the fouls?
You go to 0 the second the clock cuts inside of 10, you go back to 0 and start building up a new 5 to get to 2 shots. There are no 1-and-1s. So that's it. And they did that 2 years ago in the NIT. Last year they did it in quarters. They did this 2 years ago where it would, at the 10-minute mark, you go boom 0 and you start over again the final 10 minutes. So I don't know. I don't think that's going to work either. Yeah.
Because I like women's basketball where at 5 fouls you shoot fouls. 5 fouls. Yeah. I think that's an excellent. Right. I like it.
Right. But they're in quarters, though. So that's the reason why.
I understand that. But I like that aspect of that also. Personally, I do. But
Appreciate it, Dick. All right. I've got a couple other people holding on the line, so I want to make sure I get to them before we're done with the segment.
Thanks, Steve.
It's always a pleasure talking with you, Dick. Let's go to Dave in Altoona next on Wrestling. Hi, Dave.
Hey, Steve. I'm glad I can listen to you. But
it's great to hear you.
What?
I said it's great to hear you.
Yeah, I'm that guy that called the other show. Up a little further west.
Yep, Dave in Altoona.
Yeah, that's me. Anyway, glad to see another wrestling championship for the Penn State men. It's like the only wrestler there is for men, but I guess. But I'm glad to see another championship. Wonder if they're getting. Are they starting to complain with that like they do with the Alabama and football? It's getting.
Well, I think the people in Iowa and Oklahoma are complaining, but to be honest with you, Dave, it's different when it comes to, it's always Duke. Oh, it's always Alabama. Those are national sports. Hey, wrestling's more of a regional sport, so the complaints are more regional. In other words, the Iowa people are mad because it means so much. The Oklahoma people are mad because it means so much to them. But if you ask some fan in Illinois, they don't care who wins the thing. And so that's where the complaints are coming from. And the bottom line is everybody else needs to step up their game, and they need to get better.
Yeah, well, eventually, isn't it like a catch-22 though? But if you get good and you get on a roll, say like Alabama and Penn State, you get the recruits, and then the other schools have to struggle to,
success breeds success, and I understand exactly what you're saying, Dave. Now, this is the point I made on the show Monday. I started out by mentioning how Allie McHugh won the swimming championship. I just didn't want her to get lost in the wrestling stuff. And I said, but then the next thing I mentioned was not the three winners. I mentioned Mark Hall and Vincenzo Joseph, two guys that have won championships, know how to win, but came up short. That should make you appreciate Bo Nickel, Jason Nolf, and Anthony Cassar more, because that tells you exactly how hard it is to win.
It is.
That two guys that are that good, that dedicated, and have won before, thus they know how to win, still came up short. That should tell you that what Nickel, Nolf, and Cassar achieved was awesome, because it really is that difficult.
Okay. Thanks, Steve, and I'll be listening on this stream, and it was good to talk to you again.
Oh, Dave, it's great to hear from you. Thanks so much. Great to have you with us.
Okay, we'll see you.
All right, 800-795-9565. Chris and Shamokin Dam. Chris, are you telling me you have a flip phone?
Yes, I do.
You do, huh?
And it happens to be a great call.
It happens to be a great call. Okay, so I was right about that.
You were spot on.
How do you like it?
Hey, it worked fine for me. It's the third different flip phone I've had.
Okay. So basically, you can text with it, right?
Slowly, but yeah, I don't do a lot of texting.
Okay, and obviously you can do calls. It's a phone.
Yep.
Anything else it does? Does it take pictures?
Take photos. Yep.
Oh, okay.
So
yeah. See, yeah. In fact, I think
it doesn't have the internet stuff on it, but I don't want it. I don't do Facebook or any of that stuff.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, I thought of that other brand, the Jitterbug. I see sometimes. I've seen ads for that too.
Well, Great Call actually owns Jitterbug.
There you go.
Or vice
there
versa.
You go. Right, there you go. Okay, thanks. Good. All right.
Because you said big numbers, and I was thinking, okay, what's that one that has the big numbers? Yeah, the Jitterbug.
Because they'll show what I'm going to guess is a grandmother taking her grandchildren through the dinosaur museum, and she's taking pictures with them. So obviously you can use it that way. Yep. Though, does anybody ever give you a hard time about having a flip phone?
I don't care what they say.
But my question is, I didn't ask if you cared, which I completely appreciate. That's really cool.
They ask why I have one. I say I have what I need.
There you go. See, Chris has the answer.
Had a couple quick questions for you, Steve.
Please, Chris. I'm more than happy to hear it.
First is not a question, but unfortunately, I'll be missing the blue-white game. I wish it was on a day weather-wise like today and tomorrow.
Yeah, tell me about it. It's gorgeous.
But my first question was on wrestling. What's the recruiting season look like for Penn State? I know they recruit from all over for good reason, and kids are really looking to come into Penn State for good reason. When is the announcement date?
Well, they've already had, they already had some guys sign early. Now you're going through that period of time where my guess is they're recruiting a lot of freshmen, sophomores, people like that, because this is a destination place.
Yep,
and
absolutely.
The Olympic trials are going to be here next year. Penn State Wrestling Room is not just the Penn State Wrestling Room. You feel like it's the Olympic Training Center. I mean, with Jake Varner here.
Well, what other colleges can say they have a 4-time undefeated head coach?
Yeah, none.
That's right.
So nobody can say that. And 8 championships in the last 9. Nobody in this century, the 21st century, has been able to do that except Penn State. Won 4 in a row twice. Penn State had not had 3-time national champions until the 21st century. Ed Ruth, Zane Rutherford, Bo Nickel, Jason Nolf. Never had happened until the 21st century. What has happened here with wrestling is remarkable. It's something everybody here is proud of, should be proud of. You know, and at the same time, and this is something this morning, Chris, I was talking to the Tailback Club on campus, and I said, let me tell you one advantage that Cale has that basketball, football, and hockey don't have. He knows when he recruits somebody and he signs somebody, unless they transfer out, he's got them for 4 or 5 years. Nobody's going pro. There's nowhere to go. So hockey's hurt by 3 guys turning pro early. Football's hurt by 5 guys turning pro early. Basketball was hurt by 1 guy turning pro early. I said, so there's more roster management with those 3 sports as opposed to wrestling, where the roster management is taking care of, like, hey, we're wrestling off at 149. Go ahead, Brady, go out there. Beat them.
Is Mr. Stevens coming back for the basketball team?
My guess would be that there's a very, very good chance he will. My advice, Chris, my advice to him, Chris, though, would be this, and he's not going to ask the announcer, but you asked the question. I mean, my advice would be, hey, look, test it. Find out what the NBA guys think of your game. And if you decide to come back, use that knowledge to your benefit to make your game and make Penn State better. I wish the NFL would do that. Yeah, I wish they would do it as well, but they're 2 different animals right now. Yeah. Basketball has more leeway in time than the NFL does.
My last question was, quite a while ago, Arkansas had Nolan Richardson Sr. as coach in the 40 Minutes of Hell.
Yes.
Is there any team that plays similar to that anymore?
No. Nope, nobody does. Nobody plays like that. In fact, the 1996 NCAA tournament, Penn State played Arkansas with Nolan Richardson, so I saw it firsthand. Nobody plays like that anymore. Usually most presses are a 1-2-2 3-quarter court with a trap off of it. The teams that are really playing exemplary defense right now usually are got teams like Michigan, which is adapted from being a wide-open offensive team to being a defensive team, and Texas Tech is probably the other team that defensively is superior, along with Virginia. Virginia plays the half-court pack line defense, where they try to bait you in the half-court into shots that you think you should make, but you're taking them 2 feet out further than you should be.
I lived in Missouri when Arkansas and Missouri with Norm Stewart, and that was a heck of a series between the 2 of them. 2 great coaches.
2 great coaches. And Arkansas, ratcheted up big time. And, a lot of people forget John Wooden played full court defense. John Wooden played full court defense, and people forget that. You notice he never had to get off the bench? I mean, if I had that kind of talent, I wouldn't be getting off the bench either.
Well, Arkansas had the depth to be able to do that.
Yeah, and you do. You need that. If you're going to play with that kind of intensity for 40 minutes, you have to do it in some ways like hockey. You have to do it with line changes and in waves.
Yep. Well, North Carolina used to do that when they'd sub in 5 fresh guys, but that was back close to the 4 corners era.
Yeah, and that was, no shot clock. You try to ratchet up. Then they go 4 corners, and Phil Ford was the master at the 4 corners.
Absolutely.
Oh, man. He'd keep the ball, and you're sitting there defensively helpless, trying to get the thing back while he's playing keep away.
But it's a different game now.
It sure is.
Sometimes good and sometimes not so good.
And you know what? I agree with that. I'll say this. I do love the 3-ball, though. But you're right. Sometimes good, sometimes bad. It's interesting. I feel that this has been a sloppy NCAA tournament to this point, but it doesn't mean it still hasn't been fun.
I don't think Duke's going to get caught off guard anymore after last Sunday.
No, but you know what? I'll give them credit, Chris. A young team, and they're 351 in experience out of 353. When they got pushed on Sunday, I thought Duke kept its poise.
They did. They responded.
That showed me something.
Felt bad for Johnny Dawkins, though.
Yeah, I know. And Johnny coached a great game. His son played a whale of a game. And you know what? I give him a lot of credit. He's done a good job with that program. It helps when your son transfers from Michigan into the program, and he's that good.
Hey, it's good talking to you. I'll get some whiskey to you some other time.
Chris, I love it. Thanks so much. Appreciate it, my bud.
Hey, take care.
You too. All right. It's great taking all those calls in the opening half hour. All right, we'll come back with more in a moment. Bottom of the hour news coming up. We'll take a break here on News Radio 1070 WKOK. Brought to you by our great friends at Sunbury Motors. When it comes to car buying, there's the other guy's way, and then there's the SMC way. The other guys force you into a vehicle you really don't want. The Sunbury Motors way lets you take the time you need to browse, ask questions, and take the test drive and think on it. For over 100 years, the Mertz family and all their employees have made your experience the most pleasant one you'll ever have. The other guys won't offer you the best price for your trade, no matter how much they say they will. The SMC way is their promise to provide you with the most money the market shows your vehicle is worth. The SMC way is to offer you all applicable factory rebates on new vehicles and generous discounts. Looking for a pre-owned vehicle? The SMC way checks each vehicle in a 200-mile radius to determine the lowest price, then beat it. It's the lowest price promise, just part of the SMC way. The choice is up to you. The other guy's way or the SMC way. The SMC way wins every time. Sunbury Motors Company in the North 4th Street Auto Plaza, Sunbury, and at sunburymotors.com. Selling more cars and satisfying more customers for over 100 years.
Taking your calls at 800-795-9565. This is the Steve Jones Show on News Radio 1070 WKOK. Now, from the Sunbury Motors Studio, here's Steve Jones.
Sunbury Motors, 4th Street in Sunbury. Sunbury Motors Kia, it's 11 and 15 at Hummel's Wharf. That was fun in the opening half hour. Thanks for all the calls. It's amazing what triggers it. We're talking about flip phones. And Dick and Milton was talking about his flip phone. Chris and Shamokin Dan was talking about his. Dave and Altoona wanted to talk wrestling. We had a blast.
I believe that was Chris actually on his flip phone. Yeah.
Had to be.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Gray Call and Jitterbug are related, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Well.
The Jitterbug's the type of the phone, and the company, the service then would be Great Call.
I wonder if we can get a GoFundMe page for one of those retirement cabins at Nottingham Village, and then present it as a gift at Christmas to a certain someone with the idea of emphasizing the word retirement.
Well, if a certain someone wins Powerball tonight, that could be an easy.
I can tell you right now, certain someone wins Powerball. I can tell you right now. Okay, we're not coming back Friday for the show.
We are
gone.
Yeah, we got some tickets for tonight, and we're texting each other. Yeah, we'll see you tomorrow on the yacht. So,
you're telling me the suit would have a yacht? The suit would have anybody. What would you if you won Powerball? What's the number right now?
Tonight, 750. Yes, right.
Okay, so if you won Powerball, I'm just throwing this out to the audience. What would you do with the? What's the first thing you would do with your $750 million? Now, of course, obviously, Uncle Sam needs a cut. Uncle Tommy Wolf needs a cut. Local government, Ward 2 needs a cut. We understand that. Okay? But once that's all said and done, you're still going to end up with, I don't know, $375, almost $400 million. So you get the $750 million just out there to anybody. What's the first thing you would do? What's the first thing you'd do?
Pay off my house. For sure.
Yeah.
But that doesn't fall into something fun. That's probably what you're thinking with the question. Like, what's the first fun?
Well,
what's first fun thing you would do?
I was thinking both. Because obviously people do have bills, and there's a certain bill that probably hangs over everybody they want to get rid of.
Yeah. Right
away. And obviously a home mortgage is one. Yeah, I know that'd be the first thing I'd do. Hey, bye-bye.
Yep, do that.
But you know what? But let me tell you something just from a personal point of view. There is no way on the planet I'd give up doing the games. I really wouldn't. I would do that. I'm my personal preference. Obviously, they have to want you, but if they continue to want me to do the games, I would keep doing the games because I love doing the games. So that part wouldn't change for me. Now, you and I can go to dinner once in a while, but I mean.
Would you put down that game chart? Come on. You got a table here at 7. But no, pay off the house, secure the suite at Beaver Stadium, probably secure a suite at Heinz Field, probably a partial suite at Citizens Bank Park.
Wow.
Upgrade my wheels. So,
what would you upgrade your wheels to?
Let's see. Well, we got the Camry now, so at least an Avalon. At least. So,
right.
And another Jeep Grand Cherokee Laredo for the better half, for sure.
Wow.
Yeah.
Would you move?
Wow. Well, we just moved into our house back on Labor Day weekend, so I'm still kind of loving it. But you got $750 million now.
Now
you can.
Okay, so now you've paid it off. Would you move?
Probably, but the great thing is I would probably be patient because now this would be the dream home that we would probably want to build one and get it just the way we love it. I mean, it would definitely be a test on my wife's patience. She's not really the most patient person in the world. She will tell you that before me.
Huh.
But,
well, $750 million.
And she's got two brothers, an older one and a younger one, so we'd take care of them, take care of her mom.
Okay.
Sure.
Okay, so that's $500,000.
Sean, we're going to take back one of those suites.
So
how about you? You just finished your press conference. You're just you and Kathy holding that big old
let me tell you,
cardboard check.
Did you hear about the story about the woman in South Carolina? When the Powerball, I believe it was Powerball, I don't think it was Mega Millions, Powerball. Remember, we got to what, $1.5 billion? And there's one winning ticket. You have a year before you claim it. Well, now when was this? Was it, I want to say, was it March, April last year? April, she won it. So in April, she wins. Doesn't claim it. Summertime, doesn't claim it. Fall, doesn't claim it. Now we're into the winter. Hasn't claimed it yet. The South Carolina legislature had a special session. Panicked. You want to know why? Because they had budgeted in the $61 million in taxes that she was going to have to pay, and they're sitting there without the $61 million because she hasn't claimed it yet. They have to have a special session as to how to handle it because they were that dependent on her $61 million in taxes. Turned out eventually she did come forward. Was it 2-3 weeks ago she came forward?
Earlier this month, yeah. And I believe she wants to stay anonymous, yes.
Well, who can blame her?
Sure.
Because, I mean, there's already somebody in the station I know is trying to track her down, thinking that digital media is the solution to her $1.5 billion problem.
I just read a story about a guy in New Jersey. He won a lottery there. It was over $200 million. And he and his wife split up last fall. And he just won earlier this month. And he was a stay-at-home dad. She was the breadwinner.
Okay.
So she was the one paying him alimony, but he's the one that won the big lottery jackpot earlier this month.
Okay.
So I guess he's trying to sweet talk her back into his life. Hey, well, now we're set. We can, let's get back together. But she still doesn't want anything to do with him. But hopefully he would at least, for all the hard work she did taking care of him, that he would at least, return a little bit of that. Thought that was interesting.
Well, on the surface, that's honorable. But, I mean, imagine that a state is so dependent on your lottery winning. Again, for the state, that's money that fell out of the sky. Okay? Money fell out of the sky for them. Like all of a sudden, hey, we got a $61 million windfall because of the taxes they're taking from her ticket. And they're so dependent on it, they have to have a special session, and they're mad at her for not coming forward. Well, first of all, it's not your ticket.
Ticket was sold at a KC Mart in Simpsonville, South Carolina.
Oh,
chose the cash option of $878 million, largest jackpot payout to a single winner in U.S. history, according to the South Carolina Education Lottery Commission. South Carolina is one of only a handful of states that allows their lottery winners to keep their identity secret. The others are Texas, Ohio, North Dakota, Maryland, Kansas, Georgia, and Delaware.
Wow.
And the numbers were selected by a quick pick. At least they know that.
Now, when you played, do you do birthdays? What do you do?
No, I just do the quick pick. Just the $2 quick pick. I just let the machine kick them out. Yeah. Yeah. And then you can do the power play. You can get a $3 ticket with the power play. If you watch the Powerball drawing, they do that multiplier.
Yeah.
So, and that's an extra $1 to do that. That's a $3 ticket. I just do the regular, just the $2 ticket. $2 game.
Well, this only happened one time. But I have to read the lottery commercial on the radio network. So I read, this is like 5 years ago. And I said, and today's lottery jackpot is now worth an estimated annuity of, I'll pick a number, $300 million. That's $300 million, so play today. As a lottery benefits older Pennsylvanians every day and is the unofficial retirement package of Learfield Sports. Nobody said a word to me. I assumed somebody was going to say something to me, but
did someone say something to Jeff Tarman?
If they did, he didn't tell me, and believe me, if they had, he'd have been the first person on the phone to me in 2 minutes. The unofficial retirement plan of Learfield Sports.
I could have sworn one time and don't forget to play, Jack. I may have heard one of those.
No, Dick and I have done that. And Dick says, I'm stopping in High Spire. If it's a winner, I want to wish you the best of luck. We'll come back with more in a moment here on News Radio 1070 WKOK, brought to you by Sunbury Motors. Probably wondering that if the suit won the lottery, what would be the first thing he would do? And he said something about buying his kid into USC. What does that mean? Well, I don't. Suddenly, suit light. Hey, how did that happen?
By the way, Suit and Chief and Matt tomorrow night for the Northumberland County Senior All-Stars games in the Shikellamy Fieldhouse. So best wishes to Chief and everybody involved tomorrow night. The girls at 6:30, men tip off at the boys tip off at 8, and $5 for adults get you into both games. And proceeds go to their high school scholarship fund.
That's awesome.
Yep, Northumberland County Rec Board and Dave Ritchie and his great staff of volunteers put that on tomorrow night. Of course, we'll have both games here on WKOK starting at 6:30 tomorrow.
Phil Lockoff Memorial Gym. Go on over tomorrow night. It'll be a lot of fun. See a lot of talent on the floor, too. Next half hour, Neil Coulong on NFL rule changes. Final half hour, Kevin Franzen's going to join us from the Phillies Radio Network. Scott Fransky's broadcast partner. Notice how they've expanded Kevin's role. He deserves it. Does a great job. It's all coming up in the next hour. Thanks for joining us today. Brought to you by our good friends at Sunbury Motors, 4th Street in Sunbury. Sunbury Motors, Kia routes 11 and 15 in Hummel's Wharf on News Radio 1070 WKOK.
You're listening to News Radio 1070 WKOK Sunbury. You can hear us anywhere in the world with the Sunbury Broadcasting Corporation app.